Well, good evening. The Who's today were on at Warwick Farm, but last night we also had the night meeting at Canterbury. It played a bit parkish. Um, the fence was last night. The track was good. The rail was 6 metres out. There was no wind. If there was, it was very light. It was all there was a light nor'easter. Had no effect, and it was an advantage to be on the fence, even though there were some winners that won that sat three wide. The first race last night at Canterbury, it was diabolically no good for bookmakers. I don't know what happened here, but we bet about 89%. Um, these were the flux in the first race last night. Flying Bay went from $3 out to $4.20, back into $4. The winner Sindarin went from $4.60 out to $7, back into 5. We had Mira went from $4.60 out to $7.50. Saddler's Wish from $4.40 out to $5, back into about a $3.80 chance, starting favourite. Line Dance went from $13 or $12 out to $16, back into 13. And Blurred Vision was $8 into $7.50. It wasn't worth a stamp. And the winner was extremely well backed, and there were some runners. Well, how could you take part? If you took part and you gave $7 or the $6.50, the $6, or even the $5.50, the winner, I don't know how you win on it. But anyway, it sat in about fourth position. Sindarin, ridden by horseman Huey Bowman, and it only won by half a length. But when they turned for home, it was looming up, and it was apparent that it was just about going to get the cash, which turned out to be the case. But as I say, it only won by half a length, running down the leader, Blurred Vision, and the favourite Saddler's Wish. It got beat 8 lengths. When they sprinted to the 600, it was flat-footed and couldn't make up any ground. Now we saw in race 2, the pumper, Jay Cassidy, return from a holiday in Acapulco. He was aboard the favourite, Rockford, trained by Gay. I Own the Lead, ridden by the pumper, went straight to the lead. Rockford opened up $3, got out to as much as $4 given, and only started about a $3.50 chance, and he was seen at his best, the pumper. As I say, he led. The horse that ran second came off his back behind him on the fence, beaten a length, and that was Northern Jewel having his first start. There was a bit of section about for it, and running third was Superstition, who was placed with Rockford last start when they ran second and third, and it ran third, beaten 1.3 lengths. Nothing got trapped wide in the run. Cool Days was the one that was best backed in the race. It opened up $5, got out to $5.50. It only started about a $4.60 chance, second favourite, and was very disappointing. In this race, on the screen it said about 106.4. There was a little bit less in the marketplace. And that first race, even on the screen, it said 98.9, but there was nearly 10 less if you were a keen shopper in that first race. Now the third race at Canterbury, this was most probably, or possibly, the best performance of the night. Ridden by the pumper again, 2 rides back. The first 2 rides back, 2 winners, Song and Laughter. It was a strong win at Wyong last start, and when they were going down the back straight, Bowman came off the fence from on Whatevs, who they said was going to be ridden closer, and pushed the pumper a little bit wide. He was quite content to sit there, and he sat there 3 wide till the turn, and then he was pushed 4 wide when Coyote Miss eased in between Whatevs and Song and Laughter, and it looked to spend force just before the turn, the winner, but it was able to fight on very well. And after they got the pumper balanced it up, it finished a little bit too strong for Fine Bubbles, who was sitting third, or was sitting on the fence behind the leader, getting a good run, and went along the 18 pence. So, but the winner was in that race was by far the best run, and it was extremely well backed, I must say. It went from $9 out to $10, but only started about a $7 chance, or even $6.50. $7 very hard to get. There are a few other runners backed in the race. The winner, the best run, and very well backed as well. Race 4, there was a skinny 100.2 on the screen and a lot less in the marketplace. And here we saw Turnley come across from barrier 8 and was able to find the lead very easily. And when they hit the bend going out of the back straight, he was able to slide Tommy Berry, terrific Tommy Berry riding Turnley, and got a good 3 and 4, even is a good 4-length break on Dr. Zoo, with the well-backed Wahlberg, the favourite, on its outside. And the only 2 horses that were travelling in the race at that point were the winner and the favourite. And when they turned for home, the favourite backers were most probably thinking to themselves, oh, he might have got a bit too hard on this leader, Turnley, and we're bolting back in 3rd position, just about to get past Dr. Zoo. But he was going very well, the leader, and when you look at the tape, you'll see that he had a very cheap lead in this race, and he rolled along. Plus the form around Wahlberg, I know it trialled very well, but the form around it at Hawkesbury when it won that day, it did beat a team of fairly average netties, and it was clearly beaten by 3 lengths by Turnley, and coming from about 3rd last position was Excited Prince into 3rd hole. The winner did get an easy lead, but they would have been flat out beating it. Didn't matter what happened. We saw race 5, and on the screen here there was 103.5, and there was a little bit less in the marketplace, around getting down to the 100 mark. And here, saving ground in the distance race on the fence, was the winner, sitting directly behind the leader. Leading was Zoot Suit, finished up running last. His performance was very poor, and Tremac, who was very easy in the betting, from about $9 out to as much as $17. I gave $17 towards the end of betting, but the alley had barrier 2 in a field of whatever it was, 4. There's in a field of 8, and was able to sit on the fence behind the leader and get a split turning for home. And after having that soft run, it was able to beat Burnout, who has no pace whatsoever. It was a clear last at one stage down the back, a good 4 lengths behind the second last horse. It never left the fence, ridden by horseman Bowman, Huey Bowman, and it went straight along the 18 pence. At the halfway up the straight, it was coming quick on the inside, and a couple of strides it looked as if it'd dart through and win, but it was safely held at the finish by the winner to go down by 1.3 lengths. And Mr. Pedantic, who sat outside the leader, plugged away into 3rd hole. No hard luck stories. The winner got a good run. Race 6, there was 104.9 on the screen, a bit less than the marketplace, and this was won by the Avery Exotic Escape. As much as it went up about a $3 chance, a 2 to 1, 2 to 1 the field we'll have, 2 to 1 the field, and it got out to $3.50, $3.40, $3.50 given, and it only started a $3 chance, fairly hard to get, and it was ridden by terrific Tommy Berry again, and he was a bit aggressive early, out of the barrier, sitting fourth, but then getting outside the leader, who spent plenty of petrol getting to the lead, Turbo Day. And Berry was up on its outside turning for home. He got past it and he was able to hold on and beat a wall of horses. Number 4 finished up running second, Bohemian Spirit, who got a good suck up along the fence in about 5th or 6th position, having every possible chance. The favourite wasn't a bad win, without wanting to say it was a good win. Race 7, well, this was fat for the robots, 108.4, but there was a little bit less. There was in the marketplace, and there were quite a few runners backed in this race, and the winner was fairly easy. And again, it was showing it had barrier 1, the winner via Facile, and it went from $5 out to $8 given, back into $7.50. And as I say, it had barrier 1 and ridden by Paddy Proper, or whatever his name, Paddy Perfect Murphy. Paddy Perfect Murphy, that's right. He got a lovely suck up along the fence from that alley. They went. There was a bit of speed in the race. The Gallows was trying to hold out Falklands, who tried to cross it when they hit the first bend and all the way down the back straight, but didn't. And it kept on kicking up on the inside, the Gallows, and they ran along. And while this was happening, of course, as I said, the winner got a good suck up along the fence from the inside box, and the Anglican, who it was on its outside going down the back in the 1-1 position, and it was by far the best backed in the race. It went up second favourite. Falklands opened up the no, what am I talking about? The Gallows, it opened up favourite and went from, well, I don't know what the SP was. I think it was less than what I had on my board, but it went from $3.50 to $4.20. I was finding it very hard to lay at the finish at $4.20, the Gallows. Falklands went from $4.60 out to $5.50, back into 5, but out to $5.50 towards the death. And Anglican, who finished up starting favourite, it was sensationally backed and having every possible chance, and went poorly. It went up a $6 chance, got to as much as a fair bit of $7, but it only started the $4 3-to-1 favourite. Anglican had every possible chance. The winner got a good suck, and it was able to get off the fence and wear down the leader, who ran along in front of the Gallows, and sliding through along the fence from last position, or not last position, but back in the field, was Knockabout, as I say, saving ground on the fence. That was about the meeting. There were no real hard luck stories and nothing to ride home about. The track played favourably to those on the inside. Then we came to Warwick Farm today. The track was good. The rail was 3 out. There was a similar to last night, a light nor'easterly, which didn't have any effect on the results. But the track played very leaderish and fancy. If you were up near the lead, you didn't have to necessarily be on the fence, but if you're up near the lead and or saving ground on the fence near the lead, you had an advantage. Even though, well, I think there was in the distance race, there was, what was his name? It came from well back in the field, a Chord Connection, but they did run along in that race. But anyway, as I say, it was up near the lead was the place to be. In this first race, they said there was 104.5 on the screen, but there was only just a tick under the 100 in the marketplace, about 99. And look, it was the pros were there batting away, and but when it came to the Grumble and Grunters, the Grumble and Grunters were very sparse. There was very little section in the betting ring. If we would have taken if the pros wouldn't have turned up there today, it would have been you would have been in a lot of trouble trying to hold any cash, because the Grumble and Grunters, well, not only do they follow what the pros do, the pros don't play, a lot of time they don't play, and they haven't got much to play with, unfortunately, and there aren't many of them. It was very, very thin in the betting ring. Um, and anyway, this first race, as I say, there was a tick under 100 in the marketplace. Not for the robots, of course, up in the grandstands. But anyway, the winner was well, the two Averys got beat. A 7-4 chance got beat. A 2-1 chance got beat. You think you'd say, "Oh, the bookies cleaned up here." Wasn't the case. It was it was a bit hard to lay Sugar Rush at $3, and they did take $3.20 all the talk, the top weight, after opening at about 2.80, getting out to 3.20, back into about $2.80. So you could lay it easily. But the winner, there were two out of the others. There were two runners that were backed, and one of them happened to be the winner. Um, Pensio was the winner, Pensiero, and it was $12 out to about 16, back into 14, fairly hard to get. And there was another roughie back in this race, number 5, Saunter. They took $26, into about 19. And the others, as I say, besides number 1, were fairly easy in the market. And the winner got a good suck from barrier 1, and was able to ease off heels, turning for home. And the favourite, all the talk, it sat 3 wide outside the 2 leaders. The first starter, Saritza, pushed through on the fence, and outside it was Gay's horse. Just in front of it, Sugar Rush, and it held on poorly, as did the leader. And the track 3 wide from the outside alley was all the talk, ridden by horseman Huey Bowman. And the winner had the Barrett's inside alley, ease off their heels, and finish up getting around the winner after balancing up halfway down the straight, and wore it down to beat it by 0.3 of a length, and they got right away from the others. The picture wasn't painted clearly then, but as the races went on, it began to look much clearer. The second race, there was only 100.6 on the screen. There was under the 100 in the marketplace, and this race was won by Dark Brown Sugar, going straight to the lead and trying to replicate its win last start was Mickelberg, ridden by the brilliant Brendan Abdullah. He drew barrier 10, the outside alley, and he stayed the good, eight horses off the fence, not as wide as he was a start prior, but he started and then tried to velodrome, which he did, coming to the turn. By the time they'd reached the bend, it got across to the fence. Not like last start where he had to get away from it again to the middle of the track. He stayed on the fence today because there was nothing wrong with it. But looking at him at one stage 4 lengths away was a Dark Brown Sugar, ridden by horseman Huey Bowman, and he was able to slide up to it just after on straightening. And when he raced up to it, it ducked under pressure, and I thought it wouldn't go on with it, but it did, emphasising how important it was to be near the lead. Making up plenty of ground was Siege, number 8. It came from about 3rd last, saved ground on the fence, and also coming from well back was Arm's Length, who pulled up with a mild bout of colic, and it made up a lot of ground, as I say, and the leader held on for 4th. That was Mickelberg. So the winner's run was most probably flattered because it was up near the lead, and it got it sat handy Princess Layla from barrier 1, but had its chance and was very easy in the betting towards the end of betting. It went up about a $4.40, got out to $4.60 chance Princess Layla, and it was extremely well backed into $4, but got out to about $4.80 towards the end of betting. The favourite, the race, was Cervante, and it sat midfield, was on the back of Princess Layla, I think. Princess Layla, even though drawing barrier 1, was off the fence, and it moved up to swoop when they turned for home Savante, but the bias on the track was against it, and it only plugged up the straight. It ran third last, beaten about around about 4 lengths. A bit hard to make up ground down the outside today. Race 3, they said there was 104.5 on the screen. It was a bit less than the marketplace, and this was the winner that came from furthest back all day, and that was Court Connection. They did run along in front, Pendulum leading with Like a Bit of Lippy, who finished up running last, beating 12.4 lengths on its outside. And as I say, they didn't go breakneck speed, but enough to make it a bit easier for the back markers to run on, which turned out to be the case. And Court Connection had barrier 1, but was positioned off the fence coming down the side by horseman Huey Bowman, and when they turned for home, he was able to get to the ease off heels, flatten out, and it was fairly clear that he was he looked halfway up the straight, that you could safely say that he was going to win the race, but making a quick dash along the fence, coming from about 4th last position, was Planetarium saving ground along the fence, and there was only a half a length difference between them when they hit the line, and making up ground also from well back in the field, but it didn't have the turn of foot that the winner did, was Marden, who started, well, it went up $4.60, got out to as much as $5.50, into $4.60 at one stage, and started down here around about a $4.60, $4.80 chance. And the 3-year-old down the bottom, Laser Flash, well, it was a bit disappointing. It sat in 4th position. I found it very hard to lay. I was top odds all the way at $5.50, and I might have even gone 6 just before they jumped, and I cracked it for very little section out of Laser Flash, who sat in 4th position and had every chance. They're fairly limited, all of those runners. Now, race 4, excuse me, they said there was 107 on the screen, but there was only about 103 in the marketplace, positive figures. Well, we gave the runner that started favourite in the race was That's a Good Idea, who used up a bit of juice getting to the lead, ridden by Father Schofield. They did return at $3.50, a 5-2 chance. I was $4.20 when they jumped. So there's about 23 and 28, nearly 5%, 4 and a bit percent difference. But $4.60 was given by the same token. As I say, he spent a bit of petrol, Father Schofield, and it from the outside alley to cross and lead, and finish up sitting on his outside after they'd gone about a half a mile was Jordan, who dropped out and ran last, beaten 9.7 lengths. It went fairly ordinary. Jordan's stablemate was extremely well back, Spur Tonic. It wasn't far away. It was in about 5th position off the fence, Spur Tonic. As much as $7 was given about Spur Tonic, and he started $5.50, fairly hard to get. There were quite a few other runners backed in this race. And the winner, well, if you gave $15, it was labelled. I'm talking about Vadashan, who won at Kembla last start and didn't seem to beat a great field down at Kembla. But I suppose today, when you analyse it, saving ground, even though first and second did get right away from the others at the finish, analysing it, saving ground from barrier to the winner, it sat just past midfield and got inside runners turning for home, and was able to angle off and get to the lead after they'd gone past the furlong. I think coming down the side, the winner, the second horse, Unimpeachable, it was on its outside, and the rider, Jovial Josh Parr, he had no alternative but to go around the field, whereas the winner, ridden by Sirius Christian Reef, um, it was able to go through on the fence, and that could have been the difference between the two of them, the half a length margin. If it were the other way around, there's a very good chance that Unimpeachable beats the winner by a half a length. What else could you say about this race? As I said, there were quite a few runners back. Silk Pins, $10 given, and even $10, $9.50 layable. That's a good idea. It was extremely well backed, as I say, at one stage. One stage was $4.60 into even as little as $3.80, but started $4.20 on my board. I did lay it for a fairly good section, and I laid the third horse well each way. General Groove, a visitor from Queensland. It made up plenty of ground from about second last position right down the outside, so its run was most probably better than it looked as well, and that's about all you would say in the race. The pace was on all the way, which made it a little bit easier for those to run on. Race 5, this favourite Charger Count, I had a bad result on this race. You wouldn't see it in the flux, but the best flux was, I think, $1.70, and it was returned $1.60. I was $1.70 when they jumped. I did give $1.85, not for a lot of section, but for some section. And I did see $1.90 on the 18 pence. On the rails, there was on the fence there was $1.90 given and $1.80 on a couple of boards, and it's finished up winning by 1.3 lengths, Charger Count. And as I say, it was a bad result for me. There was plenty of sections that you could have laid it for whatever you wanted. At one stage, the pros had one of the pros had 7,000 on, and there were a couple of other $5,000 bets with me as well, and I paid the penalty. And Charger Count was perfectly ridden by horseman Huey Bowman. Going straight to the lead in this race was Networth, who pulled up with. It had been galloped on from behind, but that was no excuse. He didn't use a lot of petrol to come across from a wide alley, but he did find the lead, and the favourite, which was Bowman, let him cross him early and then just looked at him and said, well, I can get past you any time I want. And when they got to the turn, the leader was a good 4 to 5 horses off the fence, Bowman smoking his pipe on this outside, and when they balanced up, he was cracking jokes to himself, and he let this runner go, and it got straight past Networth, but it didn't run away with the race. It won by 1.3 lengths, safely beating the others, but it had the bias in its favour, and there were a few runners in this race that mightn't have been fancied, and the second horse, Masterstroke, it made, again emphasising how the fence was all right. It came from well back in the field, or at least midfield, from barrier 1, and it got up right up along the fence to be beaten to 1.3. And number 13, Charmonte, it came from, I think, back in the field, down the outside, right down the outside, and it was only 1.4 lengths away in third position. The favourite got the chocolates, and the Grumble and Grunters and the pros were very happy to see. The flux on the others, besides the favourite firming up, there was a bit of money for Chiamonte at $8.50, started 8, and there was one roughie backed rushing to win. I gave $20 to lose about at least $5,000 at that price at one stage, and it only started about $17 or $16, hard to get. and it was disappointing. It sat in about 5th position, and it ran a clear last, beaten about 9 lengths. We got to race 6. There was 103.6 on the screen, but only around about a neat 100 in the marketplace. And man's a fool. After the first 5 races, well, it was quite obvious that up near the lead was the place to be, and that's where this favourite, Happy Galaxy, the 3-year-old, the 2 3-year-olds in the race against the older horses, Tougher Than Ever and Happy Galaxy, that's where Happy Galaxy was always going to be, if not leading, sitting in 2nd or 3rd position. Going straight to the lead was Harara. The other horse was Speed in the race, and Jay Ford, jockey Jay Ford, he let Harara just go straight through. Well, he was on Harara drawing his outside, but he just let him go Speed straight through to the lead, and the favourite Happy Galaxy was able to just get around his heels and look at him all the way down to the side. And when they came to the turn, he was really cruising. He had plenty of horse underneath him, and he was able to release the brakes, and he got a good 2 lengths in front of the field, and that was enough to see him last from Sky Train, who also got a good run in about 5th or 6th position on the fence from barrier 5, and it railed up and got to finish up getting around Harara's heels, and it only got beat a half a length, but was never going to catch the winner, Happy Galaxy. And coming from midfield with a 3 on a 3 wide trail from the outside alley was Centennial Park, running 3rd and making up ground from well back, coming off its back. Well, running 4th in the race was Tougher Than Ever, who sat 3rd, and down the outside, Dane Lee, who most probably wasn't ready today, into 5th hole, that was never going to win, and the winner was never going to get beat. Race 7, we saw for the Robots 103%, but in the marketplace there was only about a neat 100, and this was a result for the captains. Talking about Magic Weekend, it was a very close finish. Again, here we are emphasising how up near the lead was the place to be, because number 1 Gun, who was the designated leader, it went straight to the lead, and sitting on its outside was Dream Choice, who was also going to be up near the lead. In 3rd position on Dream Choice's back was the winner, Magic Weekend, who finished up winning the race, and tucked away in 4th hole on the fence was Cannery Row, and so they turned for home, and of course it got clear, number 1 Gun, getting a bit off the fence, maybe 3 off the fence, and then the winner, Magic Weekend, it got around the heels of Dream Choice and was able to bob number 1 Gun on the line, and coming from midfield along the fence, making up lots of ground, as it always does with a short sprint, was Mr. Edison, and the margins were very skinny. It was more or less a quarter of an inch or half an inch by a couple of inches, very little between them. Coming wide on the turn was the runner that started favourite, extremely well backed, Bereft. It settled. There was 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 6 runners. The 6 leaders coming down the side were running along, and then there was another good 3 lengths away to Bereft, I think, on the outside of Mr. Edison, and Bereft came wide on the turn, and it put in a bit of a dash at one stage, but it was hard to make ground down the outside, and it finished up running 4th, and in front of it was Mossamine, who was backed. They took the $9, and he started $7.50. it ran in 5th position. As I say, bereft its finish up starting favourite at around about the $4.80 mark. After as much as $6.50 given, I did lay 5,000, 1,000 at one stage, plus a lot of other bets, and it started, as I say, after opening at 5.50, got out to 6.50, back into the 4.80, and the opening favourite, number one Gun, who went up about a $4.40 chance, was extremely well backed at $4.40 into $4.20, hard to get at one stage, but it was very easy in the market halfway through the betting, and got to finish up getting out to $5.50 and just failing to hang on. And as I say, there were plenty of runners in this race backed. The winner, Magic Weekend, I suppose if you, there was under 100 in this race, because I'm only counting Magic Weekend as an $18 or $19 chance, whereas I think there was better than that given, at least $21, and if not, maybe even $26 might have been given. But it only opened up about a 15, 14 to 1 chance, and it got out to, as I say, around about the 20 to 1 mark, and it gave bookmakers a better relief. It was a very good result. Then we came to the last, and I think this was another result for the bookies, because it got out in the market, Havana Ray, although they say that it firmed from $8.50 into $8 late. I thought there was still plenty of $8.50 available. They said there was 104.1 on the screen for the robots. There was 101 in the marketplace, and again emphasising how the fence was the place, or the fence, but near the lead, the place to be. Going straight to the lead was Fast Clip from barrier 1, ridden by the pumper. Coming across was the 3-year-old Ferment, who slipped over in the race day stalls but passed fit by the vet to run. It sat second, and getting a good suck from barrier 2 was Havana Ray, sitting in third position all the way, with Capers on its outside. And when they turned for home, the pumper tried to get clear, which he did, but Havana Ray sucked up behind him, was able to get around the leader's heels, and went on to win by a length and a half from Single, who made up plenty of ground, which it always does. So its run was all right. It most probably came along the fence or saved ground at some stage inside runners, and it was beaten a length and a half, and the leader, Fast Clip, it held on for third in about and beaten 2.5 lengths, having every chance. And down the outside was Frozen Rope, who we were informed that on the 31st of January, after having a swim, it got a bout of colic, not only mild, but it was treated by the vet and didn't miss any work. And I suppose from the barrier and the way the track was playing, was always going to be difficult for it to win. And ridden by the jovial Josh Parr, it was eased at the start and out to last position, and it made up plenty of ground in the straight and down the outside to run into 4th hole, but beaten 4.7 lengths. There were plenty of runners in this race backed. Fast Clip, $10 given, and $8.50 taken at the death to only start 8. Kinnersley was very well backed, $12 into only about 9, very hard to get. Thumbtacks, a bit hard to lay, 6.50 out to as much as 8.50. Single laid some good bets against it at $12 and started 11. As the Kinthos Imprints, well, this was by far the best back runner. It opened up a $7 chance and got out to $8.50, but only started a $5 chance. It started the 4 to 1 favourite, Zakynthos Imprints. Gazaguru, it was 60 out to 80. Havana Ray, $6 or $6.50 out to $8.50. Frozen Rope, very hard to lay, $5 out to $7.50. Sans Ion was 26 out to 31. Capers was 50 into 41. Orpheus Gem, it was $70 taken at one stage into 60. Jimmy Fortune's a bit hard to lay around about the $30–40 mark, and there was money for Heartbreak Hotel at $15, started about 13 hard to get, and the bottom one, the 3-year-old Ferment, it was extremely well back. It went up about $11, 10-1 chance, got out to as much as 15, but it only started the 10-1 chance, its opening quote, around about $11. It's at second, as I say, and it's had a few tough runs lately. It might need a break. That was about it. The winner got a good run, Avanare, not like it did last start when it was attacked in front by Fast Clip, and as we know, was finished. It ran into the wind that day. I think I might have explained, and it finished up a long last of the day, freshened up and got a nice sucker along the fence, and the way the track was playing, everything fell into place for it, and it got the bickies. That was about the meeting. Hope you had some luck. Gosford's on tomorrow, so we'll have to get stuck into the form. Good evening.